to the Constitution of the United States, and you just have him throw the letters, keep throwing the letters. He said, how long do you think it would take, for him to actually spell out the Constitution? And I thought about that, and I said, yeah, it would probably never happen. He said, how do you think, all this stuff got here? And I said, and I remember this person was religion, and I said, no religious person ever talked to me. They never used logic before. So this was a totally new thing to me. I said, the Christians, they used to say, oh, no, you just have to have faith and, hallelujah, and just sing and clap your hands and believe in Jesus and all this. And I said, nobody had ever talked to me about religion in a logical way before. I was amazed. I was like completely amazed. And we talked. I remember I got there at about 7 or 8 at night, and we talked until 4 o'clock in the morning, straight. We did. And finally he explained, in that one night, he explained the whole religion to me, like from A to Z. And at the end of the night, I said, I remember it was 4 in the morning, and the sun was just coming up, and it was like a week before Ramadan, and this was 1993. And I'll never forget that moment. And I said, I thought in my mind, I have a decision to make. I said, I have to choose. I know that this is true now. I said, I'm going to have to make a choice. I said, I can either do this or do that. And so, alhamdulillah, I said, I'm going to become Muslim. And so I said my shahada that night. And yeah, that same day I said my shahada. And then a couple days later, we had our first recording session, for the thing we were going to do. And I was there, and all the band was there, and everybody, we were all set up, and and then I put my guitar on, and I put the strap on, and I started playing, and then I was thinking, this is stupid. I said, what is this? There's nothing good about this, And I remember I was playing, we started our first song, and I was playing the song, but I didn't have any heart, I didn't have any energy in it. It's like my whole interest in this just like went out of my body all at once. And I said, and I just took it off and I walked out. And everybody in the band was like, what are you doing? They were cussing at me. They were saying, it's like, you're ruining the whole thing. And I said, at that point I was just like, I don't care. It's like when you see the truth, like it kind of blocks out everything else. Like I didn't think about that. I walked out of the studio, and then I remember, I thought like it's almost like, I stepped out of one world and stepped into another world. Like you said, the title of the show, Reborn, that was my reborn moment. But I have to go back a little bit, just briefly I have to say, what I noticed about a week before that happened, we were playing in the band, and then I was feeling really bad. I was feeling like really depressed. Like I thought, what's going on with me? And it was after the accident. I said, my life is it's just not that great. I have this thing that I've been working for 5 years or 6 years. I've been working towards this goal. Now that I'm about to get what I was going for, I said, I don't feel right. I said, I feel horrible. Inside, I said, I feel horrible. Like I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed. So I remember that for the first time in my life, and I've noticed this with most reversion stories, this moment happens. I said, I got on my knees and I prayed. And I did sujood, actually. I don't know if I was doing it towards the Qibla or not, I'm not sure. But I said, God, if you're out there, if you exist, if you're real, I said, I want to know what the right way is. And I said, whatever it is, if it's Islam, if it's Christianity, if it's Hinduism, I'll follow it. I said, I'll follow. So, and then like I said, a week after that is when, we had this meeting at the brother's house and became Muslim. So, alhamdulillah, I think like most of the time it says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, it says, if my servants ask of me, tell them I am near, ana qarib. And in the Quran it's very significant because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the first person, ana, I am near, okay? He's saying that if anybody does this, if anybody sincerely asks me for guidance, I'll give it to them. And this was the first time I wasn't arguing, I wasn't fighting, I wasn't trying to debate with somebody, I wasn't trying to get something over on somebody. I was just asking, sincerely asking. I think that was the first time in my life, maybe. And once I did that, alhamdulillah, this is that. 20 years later, which is now, alhamdulillah, I'm still, Muslim. The man that I talked to we were like in the Lebanese Shia community in Southern California. So they were Shia. And I actually, like my sister did, I read a lot of books at first. I also read about Sunnism because I said, if this is the right way, I said, then I'll be a Sunni. I said, if being a Sunni is the right way, I said, I'll be a Sunni. If being a Shia is the right way, I didn't care at that point. I was ready to go either way. But I remember that I read the hadith about Ghadir Qum, and also about Imam Ali alayhi salam. And I said, I remember reading all the facts about the fact that he was, raised by the Prophet, that the Prophet told people, at the Feast of the Relatives, he said, this is the one who will, lead the Ummah, that he slept in the Prophet's bed, that he was the brother of the Prophet, that he was in the Mubahila, that he was the one at Ghadir Qum, that he was the one that fought in all the battles. I said, no offense to my Sunni brothers, but I said, you put him next to Abu Bakr, there's no comparison. And I said, it's obvious to me. It's like the sun in the sky at noon, obvious that the one who is supposed to lead the Ummah is Imam Ali alayhi salam. And so if I said, whoever believes in that, that's what I'm going to go. Because I said, this is the right thing. I think the key was when he said, he told me, I said, I stopped believing in Christianity. I said, because in order to believe in Christianity, you have to kind of put your mind on the side. And I said, I didn't leave Christianity because the people did anything to me. In fact, I said it before, the church community that I was in, they were wonderful people. I didn't leave. I said, I left because for me, I can't just put my brain on the side because I'm constantly thinking all the time. He said, you don't have to do that. He said, in Islam. He said, if you want a question, you can question. He said, ask me any question. He said, I don't care. Ask me about God, ask me about hell, ask me anything, And I said, wow, you can really do this? And I said, if I can do this, then yeah, I'll be a religious person if I can do that, as long as I don't have to, put my brain on the side. And later on, I found out, when I started studying Islam, this is the aql. The aql is part of you. You can't just put it on the side. The people that do that, they're pretending. It's part of religion. It's part of the whole thing. And actually, it's good to question. Within certain limits, it's good to question, and it actually gives you more certainty that what you're doing is correct if you keep questioning. So when I knew that I could do that, then I said, that's it. I'm sold. You got it. Sign me up. Where's the paperwork? So then I said, alhamdulillah. And then after that, I said, that was the tipping point. I think for me that was a tipping point. And then after that, I started meeting brothers. And then, like I said, I started learning about the lives of the imams. I started learning about some of the great personalities. Contemporary persons like, Sayyid Imam Bakr Sadr, Sayyid Musa Sadr in Lebanon, Imam Khomeini. I started learning about that they actually lived this, So, and then after that, I was even more and more and more sold and more sold. And then, alhamdulillah, my faith is increased. And like I said, from going to a place where I knew not one single Muslim, and now 20 years later, alhamdulillah, I'm still very, firm in my, iman, inshallah. And, I'm trying to, now the struggle is, trying to teach the kids and trying to communicate to the next generation. And a lot of them, they grow up in Dearborn and stuff, and they take the religion for granted, and they don't understand what a kind of a gift it is, they just take it as, this is just how we are. We're Lebanese or whatever. We live in Dearborn, so yeah, we have the Imam Ali, the necklace and all this stuff, and they don't really understand what it means. So the challenge now is like communicating this to the youth, and inshallah, I mean, you guys at Ahlul Bayt TV are doing a very good job of that, and that's why I support the channel, I watch it, and I think that more people should watch it, inshallah. I actually started my YouTube channel now. It's called Migration 313. So we're working on it. It's me and some other brothers are working on it. It's a project that we're doing. I've given lectures at Darul Hikmah before, the one in Dearborn, and I used to be a teacher before, so I worked with youth, and then also, if I could talk just like briefly, I'm involved in an organization called Share International. Excuse me, and we're a charity organization. Our website is Share Global Charity, shareglobalcharity.org, and we provide assistance for orphans, and we provide educational assistance for children, and we're doing it in Pakistan, and we're also going to do it in India, and that makes me feel really good, because I think we're very, like in the U.S. and also in the U.K., we have a lot of resources and we're very privileged. And part of living Islam is trying to help people realize their dreams and goals who are not in the same position as us. So that's become kind of a big part of my life. And also doing dawah. When I meet people who are interested in Islam, I'm also on Shia Chat, and I talk to people there. I'm active on that site, and a lot of people they ask me questions. I wrote a book called Jesus Through Our Eyes. It's a book about the Muslim view of Prophet Isa alayhi salam and Mary, and so those are kind of the things that I'm doing currently. Yeah, well, I'm working on it. I'm trying to I've sent it to some brothers, and I'm trying to I can send you guys a copy if you want. I'm trying to get it published. I put it on Shia Chat, and I got comments from them about it. So it's kind of a work in progress, but it's basically finished. So, I mean, I like to stay active, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you, viewers of this video series. The video series is going to be about migration with an introduction to Islam geared towards non-Muslims. Why I decided to make this video series is because today the world is suffering. And there are so many tragedies happening one after another. If you look all around you, from everywhere from inside the United States to Europe, to the East, the Middle East and the Far East, you see tragedy after tragedy, waves of pain happening, people fighting and killing each other for no apparent reason. And what I finally figured out about this is that the world is in dire need of some way to comprehend this, to understand this, and then to migrate from the place of pain and suffering and fighting and conflict to a more peaceful place of happiness, of love, of sharing, being together. And there is a solution. It's not like there's no solution. There is a solution. And we're going to talk about over this video series the solution. But in order to find the solution, we need to migrate. Now, what is migration? Migration has been happening since the beginning of human history. Our forefathers came out of Africa and they spread to the entire world, and the world became populated through migration. And why did they migrate? And the reason why they migrated is because they were in a place where they weren't happy, they weren't satisfied. There was problems there. There was pain, there was suffering. And then they looked over the horizon and they found that there may be something better there. There may be something that's better for their life, that will make their life easier and happier, less conflict, and more prosperous. So that was the reason. And they migrated physically. But as human beings, we're not only a physical body, but we also have a spirit. And we can migrate spiritually. And this video series is going to be talking about the spiritual aspect of migration. And how do you move from one place to another? How do you free your spirit, and what's the incentive to